The story begins in the future, when our world was on the very edge of destruction. Just a few years before that, the Earth was completely normal. But then, all of a sudden, a serious problem developed in the Earth's solar system. As a result, a strange solar flare spread across the entire planet. Because of that, all of the electronic devices around the world suddenly stopped working. Even the Earth's electricity completely shut down. Before long, all of the world's technology was destroyed. Computers, cell phones, factory equipment, and all kinds of digital machines. In other words, every electronic device across the planet became completely useless. The world had depended on electricity for almost everything it did. Without power, the world itself had become almost worthless, and people's lives started to change completely. Every factory around the world, which relied on electricity to operate, suddenly shut down, leaving millions of people without jobs. And little by little, most people around the world fell into such severe financial hardship that even now, they're still struggling just to survive. People had no jobs, no money, and children's education completely fell apart. Many people couldn't even afford 3 meals a day. Even worse, most schools, colleges, factories, government offices, and courthouses had been abandoned for so long that the entire world seemed to be on the brink of collapse. Even the factories that produced medicine eventually shut down. Now, almost everything has been left abandoned. Today, people are barely surviving in this ruined world. Meanwhile, all of the world's major and most powerful countries couldn't control the crisis within their own nation. In the end, their governments gave up their authority and walked away. As a result, most countries no longer had a functioning government. Because of that, in different parts of the world, the wealthy and powerful people ruled their own territories however they wanted, because they had stockpiled a large number of advanced weapons, and they also had highly trained people to operate them. That was how many of them took control of different parts of the world. As a result, people in many major cities slowly began to starve to death. At the same time, because all the medicine factories had shut down, it was no longer possible to treat many sick people. Even every hospital had been abandoned. Because of that, people also kept dying from various diseases. And in the world today, money had very little value. The only things that truly mattered were valuable supplies and weapons. Those were the things that gave people the power to rule. Now we meet a man named Jack. Back when the world was still completely normal, Jack was the world's most famous treasure hunter. He became well known in a very short time because of his incredible skills. No matter what kind of ancient artifact or long-lost treasure it was, or where it was hidden anywhere in the world, finding those items was never a challenge for him. Whether they were buried beneath the desert or hidden deep under the ocean, finding them was just another normal job for Jack. Jack was also a very strong and proud man. He never liked working under anyone, so whenever he was hired to find something, he would complete the job, collect his payment, and go back to living life on his own terms. He never liked anyone interfering in his personal life. That's why he always lived alone. Throughout his life, he discovered treasures that no one else could have ever found. Because of that, he earned great respect and a strong reputation everywhere. But now, it's been about 6 years since the world collapsed. These days, very few people even know who he is. Now we see Jack in a city in England. He's riding his motorcycle toward a certain destination. Jack still works as a treasure hunter, and today, he's on another mission. So here, Jack carefully rides his motorcycle into an abandoned building. Then he goes straight to the roof of the building from where the entire city could be seen. A little while later, Jack comes down from the building and enters a hotel nearby. It had once been a very luxurious hotel, but now it lies abandoned. Jack uses a small flashlight in his hand and slowly climbs the stairs toward the upper floors of the hotel. There, he finds a huge bookshelf filled with many different books. Jack walks up to the bookshelf and carefully examines the entire area around it. After checking for a while, he discovers a hidden door there. As soon as he moves the bookshelf aside, it reveals a hidden room behind it. Jack walks right up to the room. Then he uses a few small bombs he has with him to blow open a strong steel door inside. After moving a little farther, Jack finds a locker there. It had several letter buttons on the front, meaning it could only be opened by entering the correct password. Jack then uses a special light to carefully inspect the letters. He writes down the letters that showed fingerprints on a small piece of paper. Even then, the password wasn't immediately clear because the letters were arranged randomly. But Jack was very intelligent, so he quickly rearranges the letters into the correct password. As soon as he enters the password into the locker, it turns out to be completely correct, and Jack is able to open the locker. But when the locker opens, there is no gold, jewelry, or money inside. Instead, there are several very old albums. Then he notices a gramophone there, which could be operated without electricity using another power source. So Jack places the album on the gramophone and starts playing it. The album was called Password. As soon as the gramophone starts playing the song Password, another hidden locker suddenly opens in response to the music. Then Jack takes out a very valuable violin from the locker. It had once been the most expensive violin in the world. Just as Jack is about to leave with the violin, several police officers suddenly arrive. But in the world today, there were very few police officers left. One of the officers says to Jack, "We know you're here to steal, but we won't arrest you if you leave the stolen item here and quietly walk away." But Jack was extremely clever. He replies, "Who's the real thief here, me or you? Who do you think you're fooling? Do you really think you can trick me by dressing up as police officers?" Hearing that, the people pretending to be police realize that Jack has seen through their disguise. In other words, they were actually a gang of thieves. Then, just before Jack could attack them, they suddenly launched their attack on him first. But Jack had a highly advanced gun, and he was an expert marksman, so he immediately starts firing at them non-stop. However, the gang of thieves moves quickly from one place to another. As a result, Jack runs out of ammunition very quickly. Jack then puts away his gun and starts fighting them with his bare hands. He was so incredibly strong that he alone was more than enough to take on all of them. Even when they all attacked together, they couldn't hurt Jack at all. Then, just as another thief is about to attack Jack from behind, Jack senses it and throws a blade over his shoulder. As a result, the thief is killed on the spot. Now the only one left is the leader of the thieves. When Jack throws another blade at the leader catches it with his hand. But then it turns out that the blade he caught had a bomb hidden inside it. The bomb explodes immediately, killing the leader on the spot. Jack single-handedly takes down the entire gang of thieves. After that, he leaves the hotel and rides his motorcycle straight to a massive building, which was now being used as a factory. Several guards were standing together and heavily guarding the entrance. Actually, this place belonged to a very wealthy man. He had a passion for collecting rare and valuable antiques. That's why he had hired Jack to recover the violin. Jack walks inside with the violin and hands it over to one of the man's assistants. The assistant then tells Jack that Augusta has another important job for him. Jack asks what kind of mission Augusta wants to offer him next. The assistant explains the details of the job, but Jack immediately turns it down. Because to complete the mission, he would have to travel to the shore of an ocean located in another country. If the world were still normal, he would have taken the job without hesitation. But the world was no longer the same. They had no information about what was happening in other countries. They didn't even know whether that city or that country still existed. That's why Jack didn't want to take such a huge risk. The assistant then goes to Augusta and tells him that Jack has refused to accept the new mission. He says Jack believes the mission is too dangerous. Hearing that, Augusta becomes slightly irritated. He tells his assistant to make Jack an offer that he simply won't be able to refuse. Meanwhile, we see Jack riding his motorcycle to a place that looked like an old factory. This was actually his home. Jack didn't really have any family or anyone close to him. Inside his home, there was an old ship that he often used for different purposes. Jack had also set up all kinds of traps throughout his house, because in today's world, no one could be trusted. Every place on Earth had become dangerous. There was no telling when someone might attack you. So Jack had already prepared for that by placing traps all around his home. Then we see that even though Jack had no one in his life, he did have a dog that he loved very much. As soon as he gets home, the first thing Jack does is feed his dog. Then Jack sits down calmly and checks his payment. In other words, he's looking through everything he was given for completing the mission earlier. We see that inside a suitcase, there are some food supplies, drinking water, and a few other items, including a very old and once popular music album. Jack then places the album on a gramophone in his house and starts playing it. As the music plays, he quietly sits there drinking by himself and enjoying the moment. After drinking quite a bit, Jack becomes exhausted and falls asleep. While sleeping, he has a beautiful dream. In the dream, he sees himself riding a small boat through a breathtaking place. He sails along a river, traveling across the world in that little boat. That had once been Jack's dream. Just then, he hears a noise and suddenly wakes up. He quickly grabs his gun and looks around to see if someone has really come. Holding his gun, Jack slowly walks outside. There, he sees a soldier caught in one of the traps he had set. When the soldier sees Jack, he asks for help and repeatedly tells him that he's not a thief. He explains that Augusta sent him. He says Augusta has an offer for Jack and urgently wants to meet with him. After hearing that, Jack doesn't waste a single moment. He doesn't even bother freeing the soldier. Instead, he heads straight to Augusta's factory. Inside the factory, there was a special room where Augusta was sitting at a table with his men, waiting for Jack. Jack walks in and sits down right across from him. Since Jack never asked for permission to sit, Augusta says to him, "I've met very few people like you. You sure have a lot of courage, don't you? I've given this kind of job to many people before, but I've never found anyone as skilled as you. Your talent for finding hidden treasures has truly impressed me. That's why I want you to keep working for me." Then Augusta says to Jack, "As far as I know, you have a real passion for boats, don't you? So if you complete this mission, I promise you I'll give you a very expensive boat." Hearing that, Jack asks him about the mission. Augusta replies, "You need to recover the world-famous Mona Lisa painting. Now that the entire world has fallen apart, there probably aren't many guards or people left where the painting is, so you should be able to recover it without much trouble. However, the painting is now hidden in a highly secret location. I'm sure you'll be able to find your way there. And for this mission, I'll provide everything you need, including food, supplies, and any other equipment. Your only job is to complete the mission, no matter what it takes." Wanting to get the boat Augusta promised, Jack finally agrees to the offer. Jack then heads straight home. After making all the necessary preparations for the mission, he takes his dog to the young woman who worked as Augusta's assistant. Jack leaves his dog in the assistant's care. Once she agrees, Jack gets on his motorcycle and sets off on his new mission. Although Jack usually handles all of his missions using his motorcycle, this mission was in another country, so Augusta arranged an airplane for him at the airport. Jack heads straight to the airport, but when he arrives and sees the condition of the airplane, he becomes very concerned. The plane had bullet holes all over it. Flying a plane like that on a mission was practically risking his life. Then Augusta calls Jack into one of the rooms at the airport. When Jack gets there, Augusta shows him a large map. The map contained the layout of the locations Jack would have to travel through to reach the painting, so Augusta carefully explains the map to him. He also points out the safest routes that would help Jack avoid as much danger as possible. Then he tells Jack, "Once you arrive in Paris, one of my men will meet you right in the center of the city. Your only job is to make it there. After that, he'll tell you everything you need to do next." Jack then gets everything ready and prepares himself for the mission. At the end of the evening, he takes off on the mission by airplane. A pilot was assigned to fly with him, but after traveling for a while, it becomes clear that the pilot can barely control the plane. Still, the pilot says, "Don't worry, the plane is leaking fuel, but we'll be fine. After we go a little farther, we'll just have to jump using parachutes. We can't continue flying the plane." Seeing the situation, Jack becomes extremely nervous. As he hurriedly puts on the parachute, he says, "I've never used a parachute in my entire life. How does this thing work?" But the pilot remains completely calm. He tells Jack, "Jumping with a parachute isn't a big deal. We just need to jump from the right position. So after we fly a little farther, I'll tell you when to jump. The moment I say it, just jump." Jack sits there waiting for the signal, ready to jump the instant he's told to. Then Jack notices several soldiers opening fire. They were actually shooting at their plane. Apparently, they had entered a restricted area where guards were protecting the location and had mistaken them for criminals. Meanwhile, the pilot somehow manages to keep the plane moving. Then he tells Jack, "We're going to have to change the plan. We wanted to jump a little farther ahead, but we'll have to do it now. Otherwise, we could be killed in this attack." After hearing that, Jack walks over to the airplane door. As soon as the pilot tells him to jump, he gathers all his courage and leaps out of the plane. Before long, he lands safely on the ground. But shortly after landing, Jack realizes that he hasn't landed in a normal place. Everywhere he looks, he sees nothing but flames burning. Then, as Jack walks a little farther, he looks ahead and sees several people hanging after being executed. This area was ruled by a wealthy man, but the ordinary people had been standing up to him, so he used his power to kill them like this. Seeing all of this deeply upsets Jack. He then slowly moves forward, trying to get out of the area. But just then, a massive tank smashes through a wall and rolls toward him. It was getting ready to kill Jack as well. Just as the tank is about to attack him, a missile suddenly strikes it, bringing the tank to a complete stop. A few moments later, a large group of protesters rushes in. They climb onto the tank and force open its hatch. Then they begin throwing grenades inside. As a result, all of the soldiers inside the tank are killed. Meanwhile, we meet a man named Walcop. He was the one who ruled this entire city. Walcop was an extremely cruel and ruthless man. He didn't care about human lives at all. Walcop also had a trusted right-hand man named Gorniz. Gorniz tells Walcop that a short while ago, they attacked an airplane. During the attack, they saw a man parachuting down. He had probably landed somewhere nearby. Walcop orders Gorniz to find him as quickly as possible and bring him in. Gorniz immediately sets out to carry out the order. Meanwhile, we see Jack again. By the time he has been walking, morning has arrived. He has made his way from one side of the city to the other, which had become a city in ruins. After walking a little farther, Jack realizes that he has entered a slum. The people living there were always terrified of Walcop, and they struggled just to survive. Everyone around him was wearing dirty, worn-out clothes, so it was easy to tell that Jack wasn't from this place. Jack then walks over to a pile of trash, finds some old clothes there, and changes into them. He hides his good clothes in a safe spot. That way, everyone would think he was one of the locals. Looking ahead, Jack notices a large crowd of people. He quietly blends into the crowd. A squad leader of the soldiers was giving a speech to everyone. He announces, "Our leader, Walcop, has issued a strict order. And as you all know, the entire city is under curfew. If anyone tries to break the curfew, even by mistake, they will receive the harshest punishment possible." Then the soldiers' leader brings two men in front of the crowd. He brutally executes both of them right in front of everyone, so the others will be too terrified to disobey. After witnessing this, Jack starts walking away, but after going a short distance, several soldiers approach him. They order Jack to hand over the bag he was carrying, but Jack cleverly throws the bag straight into one soldier's face and immediately starts fighting the others. When one soldier tries to attack Jack, Jack slams the soldier's hand in a car door. Then he grabs another soldier by the head and smashes him through a car window. Meanwhile, another soldier tries to stab him with a knife, but Jack quickly grabs his arm and uses the knife to kill him instead. Within just a few seconds, Jack defeats every one of them. After that, he starts walking away, but then another soldier comes running out from inside. He raises his gun and is about to shoot Jack. Just as he's about to pull the trigger, a young woman appears behind him. She slices the soldier's throat, killing him instantly. The young woman's name is Rhea. Rhea walks over to Jack and tells him that she's actually part of Augusta's team. Augusta sent her to help Jack. Rhea also tells him, "I've been watching you ever since you landed with your parachute. I just wanted to see whether you could survive the conditions here. If you had been useless, I would have left you here to die, because what's waiting for us later in this mission is far more dangerous. But you've proven yourself, so I'm ready to work with you." After that, Jack and Rhea secretly make their way out of the city. But then, one of the generals spots them. Jack and Rhea quickly run into a church. There, they meet a man named Samson. He has a very important map that had been carefully hidden by several fallen protesters. Samson then takes the two of them to a garage. There, he shows them a car that he had been working on. Samson was actually one of Augusta's men. He then explains the remaining routes shown on the map. There was also a secret code written in the corner of the map. To prepare for the next stage of the mission, Samson gets the car ready to go. Meanwhile, Rhea applies medicine to Jack's wounds. But just then, the general arrives with his men. They order everyone inside to come out. Samson tells Jack and Rhea to get ready with the car. Then he goes outside to distract the general and his men. The general tells Samson to bring out the people inside as well. But Samson knows there's no one else inside. The general then sends several soldiers into the building. Seizing the opportunity, Samson immediately shoots the general in the hand. As a result, the general's men open fire on Samson and kill him. Meanwhile, the soldiers go inside and find Jack. But at that moment, Rhea attacks them. She shoots and kills every one of them. Outside, the soldiers were still firing at Samson, so they couldn't hear any of the noise coming from inside. Then, just as Rhea and Jack are about to leave, the radio inside their car suddenly starts playing at full volume. The soldiers hear the sound of the radio. Immediately, they use a tank to completely destroy the church. But at that moment, Jack and Rhea smash through a back door and escape in their car. Even though the soldiers keep firing, their bullets can't damage the vehicle. Because of that, Jack and Rhea manage to escape without much trouble. But then several of Walcop's soldiers start chasing them. Before long, they reach a checkpoint. The soldiers stationed there also begin firing at them. By then, Jack had realized that their vehicle was bulletproof. So without hesitation, he drives the car straight through, launches it over the checkpoint, and escapes. But after driving a little farther, more soldiers start chasing them. To get away, Jack drives the car into a building. Just as the soldiers are about to drop a bomb on them, the bomb hits another vehicle instead, blocking the road. The soldiers who were chasing them on motorcycles crash one after another when they reach the blocked road. Taking advantage of the situation, Jack and Rhea escape from the area. They quickly reach a tunnel. But even then, two soldiers are still chasing them. Suddenly, a massive tank appears in front of them. Little by little, the soldiers surround them from every direction. At that moment, Rhea throws a grenade, taking out the soldiers on the motorcycles. But the tank is still chasing them and getting ready to attack. This time, Jack starts driving at incredible speed. The tank misses its target, and its shot hits another military vehicle that had been chasing Jack and Rhea. Finally, Jack and Rhea manage to escape from the area. Later that night, they stop at a remote location to get some rest. While they're resting, Rhea asks Jack, "Do you know why so many people were trying to kill us?" Rhea replies, "Because they found out that we're going to recover the painting." Jack says, "All this for a single painting? I know it's famous, but why are so many people after it?" Rhea explains, "They're not really after the painting itself, they're after the vault where it's being kept, because inside that vault there isn't just the painting. There are also a lot of extremely valuable weapons, which are worth a fortune in today's world. That's why Walcop is looking for it too, so we need to get there as quickly as possible." After that, the two of them continue their journey. A little later, Rhea hands Jack a paper boat and says, "I know how much you love boats, so I made this for you." Jack is very happy to receive it. The next morning, we see Walcop traveling with his men on a special train to search for the vault containing the painting. Meanwhile, we see Jack and Rhea. Together, they arrive at an abandoned place. There was actually a vault there, but after arriving, Rhea becomes very nervous because this place was full of rats. The rats were actually a group of people who had been imprisoned there for many years. After the world collapsed, they went without food for a long time. As a result, they became extremely violent and now they survived by eating people. Meanwhile, Rhea and Jack enter the abandoned building. When they finally reach the vault, they discover that it's already open and there's nothing inside. Jack also notices the smell of gunpowder, so he realizes that explosives were probably used to blow open the vault. Most likely, everything there had already been moved to another, more secure location. Then the two of them search an old office room and find an old cabinet. Behind it was a false wall. Jack also discovers a very old notebook hidden there. Something was written in it in French. Fortunately, Rhea could understand it. She translates everything for Jack and clearly explains what was written. She also tells Jack the coordinates written in the notebook, but Jack felt that something wasn't right about those coordinates. No one would make the location of a hidden treasure that easy to find. Maybe the coordinates had been written there to hide the real location even more cleverly. Jack then tries to figure out the actual location using the map that Samson had given him. Just then, the rats enter the building. Jack quickly starts trying to solve the code. Finally, after a lot of effort, he successfully decodes it. In the end, he figures out the name of the location. It was called Central Hub, which was a very famous place. Meanwhile, the rats had gotten very close to them, but the two of them managed to escape through a back window. Before leaving, Jack had planted a bomb inside. As soon as the rats enter the room, a massive explosion kills them all. After that, Jack and Rhea get into their car and head toward Central Hub. On the way, Rhea calls several of her allies and tells them to meet her at Central Hub. They were actually members of the Resistance. Meanwhile, Walcop and his men stop at the same location. When Walcop notices tire tracks there, he and his men begin following them. That leads them to the very building where Jack and Rhea had found the notebook. A little later, Gorniz finds the notebook there. He also discovers a map that Jack and Rhea had used to locate Central Hub, where the vault was actually hidden. But Walcop was very clever too. Using a UV light, he finds Rhea's fingerprints and figures out that the place they were headed to was called Central Hub. Meanwhile, Jack and Rhea finally make it to Central Hub. Together, they unlock a door and manage to get inside. A short while later, the two of them reach another building, but when they get there, they're both surprised. There wasn't any security at all. When they enter the building, they find several machines still running. Seeing such massive machines, Jack and Rhea are completely shocked because machines like these couldn't possibly operate without electricity, but Jack assumes they're probably running on solar power. Meanwhile, they also hear some strange noises. Rhea checks the building's blueprint and discovers that the sound is coming from the vault's air circulation system. In other words, the secret location was actually a vault where the items they were looking for were being kept. The sound also tells Jack and Rhea that the vault is still completely secure. No one has opened it yet. After studying the map, Jack comes up with a plan. He says that since air flows into the vault through a large pipe, they'll try to enter the vault through that same pipe. However, there's a huge fan in the middle of the pipeline. Rhea says she'll look for the solar panels because once she shuts them down, the fan will stop. Meanwhile, Jack should head to the pipe. Jack agrees and does exactly that. When he gets there, he finds a long rope. He securely ties the rope to a wall. Then Jack uses his backpack to make a safety harness. Using the rope, he slowly lowers himself through the shaft. When Jack gets right next to the giant fan, he sees that it's still spinning, so he waits for it to stop. But then, the rope starts snapping. Meanwhile, after searching everywhere, Rhea finally reaches the solar power system. She immediately uses her gun to destroy the solar panel. Just as the rope breaks and Jack falls, the fan comes to a stop. Because of that, Jack survives by the narrowest margin. Jack quickly makes his way to the air system, but the entire area is filled with water. Jack jumps into the water and swims all the way down. However, the passage leading to the vault was blocked by a heavy iron door. Meanwhile, Jack was running out of air. Using every bit of strength he had, he somehow manages to unlock the iron door. Finally, he reaches the secret chamber. There, Jack quickly finds the Mona Lisa painting. Just then, Rhea arrives as well. But they soon realize that the Mona Lisa isn't the real painting. It was actually a massive nuclear bomb with the Mona Lisa painting mounted on it. Jack is completely shocked by what he sees, but Rhea already knew about it. They had actually been sent there to recover the nuclear bomb. Rhea tells Jack, when America dropped the atomic bomb on Japan, they kept another bomb that was meant for Russia. This is that bomb. Augusta wants to take possession of it, but he doesn't want to use it. He wants to keep it out of the hands of dangerous people like Walcop, because if Walcop gets hold of it, there's no telling what he might do. But Jack says to Rhea, listen, Rhea, how can you be sure you can trust Augusta? None of the people who rule cities today are truly good. You never know what's in someone's mind. What if Augusta wants to do the exact same thing Walcop does with this bomb? Besides, there's no point in going up against Walcop. He's far too powerful. In the end, he'll be the one who wins. Just then, several resistance fighters arrive. They were Rhea's friend, but Jack tells them, I don't want to get involved in all of this anymore. You can do whatever you want. With that, Jack gets into the car and starts driving away. But at that moment, Walcop and his men arrive at Central Hub. Immediately, Walcop's forces open fire non-stop. The resistance fighters are forced to shoot back, but Walcop's men end up killing them as well. Meanwhile, Walcop gets hold of the vault key. He quickly recovers the nuclear bomb with his men and loads it onto his train. Meanwhile, Jack stops in the middle of the road. He looks at the little paper boat that Rhea had given him. Seeing it, he feels a deep sense of guilt. So he changes his mind and heads back to help them. He sees the bodies of many people lying everywhere. Like a madman, he starts searching for Rhea. Fortunately, Rhea is still alive. She tells Jack, you were right. No matter what we do, Walcop will win in the end. But Jack reassures her and says, don't worry, There's no way I'm going to let Walcop win. If I have to, I'll blow up his entire train. Then the two of them plant several bombs at different locations. Jack and Rhea had been carrying those bombs in their backpacks for their own protection. After that, Jack helps Rhea leave the area. A short time later, the entire building is completely destroyed. It was the building where the nuclear bomb had been hidden. That evening, because of the darkness, Walcop's train was moving very slowly. Walcop becomes furious and shoots the conductor dead. After that, the train starts moving at full speed. Before long, it reaches a bridge where Jack has been waiting. Seizing the opportunity, he jumps from the bridge onto the top of the train. He opens one of the train doors and throws a grenade inside, killing several guards instantly. Then he grabs a gun from one of them and starts shooting the rest. Meanwhile, hearing the gunfire, Gornies arrives. Gornies was incredibly strong, so the two of them engage in a fierce fight. At one point, Gornies kicks Jack so hard that Jack is thrown right next to the nuclear bomb. Then Gornies moves in again to finish Jack off. But just then, Walcop arrives. The moment he sees Jack, he starts firing at him. Jack cleverly pulls Gornies in front of him, causing Gornies to be hit by the bullets and killed. Taking advantage of the moment, Jack attacks Walcop. Using a compass, Jack stabs through Walcop's hand and snatches away the key. That key was actually used to activate the nuclear bomb. Meanwhile, we see Rhea. Following Jack's plan, she was planting several bombs at a specific location. It turned out to be another bridge. As soon as the train reached the bridge, the bombs exploded. Meanwhile, Jack had already jumped off the train long before that. On the other hand, when Walcop hears the explosion, he tries to stop the train, but it was already too late. The blast had destroyed half of the bridge. As a result, the train plunges straight into the water at full speed. It is completely destroyed in the crash. Watching all of this, Rhea breaks down and starts crying. She believes that Jack is still on the train. But just then, Jack walks up to Rhea and says, "That's unbelievable. I went through all that trouble to complete the mission for you, and you're standing here crying?" The moment Rhea sees Jack, she's overwhelmed with joy. She immediately throws her arms around him and hugs him tightly. After that, several days pass. Then we see Jack back in England. He had returned safely. At the end, he hands the key to the nuclear bomb over to Augusta. Jack tells Augusta that the bomb fell beneath the bridge along with the train, but it could only be activated with this key. Augusta then asks Jack, "Can you recover the bomb for me?" But Jack replies, "From today on, I'm done with treasure hunting. I'm going to start a new life. I'll never put myself through another dangerous mission again." Augusta doesn't object. Instead, he rewards Jack for completing the mission by giving him the boat he had promised. A few days later, we see Jack sailing peacefully through a beautiful place on his new boat, just like he always dreamed. But this time, he isn't alone. Rhea is there with him. The two of them have fallen in love and chosen to build a life together. Now, they're both dreaming of a brand new future. And with that heartwarming ending, the story comes to an end.